It's the last new comic book day of January, and we're closing out the month with a bang. This week, the Silverhawks make their epic return to comics. Could Ultimate X-Men be the sleeper key everyone's hunting? And the Book of Cutter is finally opening its pages. Plus, we're diving into the hottest publisher releases, stunning variants, and so much more. You won't want to miss this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This week in comics, we got a book. You can see it right there that I am so ecstatic for. The only problem I have is I don't know which cover I want to get because there are a whole lot of them.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to hearing about this book because I don't know anything about Silverhawks.
I wouldn't call it a deep cut. However, it is one of those titles that it came after Thundercats, so it's in the Thundercats universe. They did a cartoon for it. It did not last long. It was pretty much the same story, but with metal flying bird people.
Right.
So,
okay. I'm sure it'll look familiar when I see it because that's in my wheelhouse. That's when I was a kid and watching TV. So
you could find it. The theme music is fun. Silverhawks. Let's talk about these books. But first, before we do that, we got to give love to Superior Stands. I mentioned about them earlier. Their stands are awesome. I got it right there. Holding up my books there. I love my Superior Stands. Go grab it. There's a QR code there for you to get your hands on it. They got some more stuff coming up in the horizon. Go check them out on IG as well. They are great. Let's start with a new little subsection that's previously fresh. So what I ended up doing, I wanted to talk about what was the hottest books from last week, but instead of going over it through numbers, we're going to go over it through what voters pick. And in League of Comic Geeks, there is a section where you could vote for your favorite pick. And this week, the favorite pick was Ultimate Spider-Man 13 with 31% of the votes. The Absolute Wonder Woman came in second with 27%, while Justice League Unlimited came in 5%. Doctor Doom, Rocket Raccoon was 4%, and Green Arrow was at 3%. Did you get a chance to read Ultimate Spider-Man?
I've read all of those books except for Green Arrow, and I really enjoyed Ultimate Spider-Man. That's the book that reminds me of being a kid again, and what I love about comics. I wait for that every week. That's the one I want to read. I would have changed the order of those around a little bit, but I agree with those pretty much the first 4 books anyway.
Ultimate Spider-Man has a great cliffhanger piece in it. And everything about that story is like, it has build-up. One of the things that this story has is like this build-up, this anticipation that goes along with it. Yeah. Same thing with Absolute Wonder Woman. All right. And dare I say the same thing with Justice League Unlimited. Those 3 books, they're all 3 ongoing books, are great reads, great art, great writers. They know what they're doing. That's what's great about it. And I'm so happy that Ultimate Spider-Man came in first place because we're a year in. We're in 13 issues. That's a full year of comics.
If you're not reading Ultimate Spider-Man, then really, like, without any spoilers, because you should read it because it's just good, is like, I just have this impending feeling that eventually he's going to learn this lesson of with great power comes great responsibility. And I don't know what character is going to provide that lesson for him. Like I was saying on Wednesday when we talked about it, Izzy, but I'm looking forward to it every month. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be something. When it happens, it's going to be a doozy. All right, let's take a look at the rundown. Our fresh off the shelves, we have 87 titles coming out this week. Among that, 285 additional variants. Almost 200 more are variants. And they all most of them are coming from Dynamite.
Yeah.
All right. From the number ones, we have 23 number ones that are coming out from that. 114 extra variants to go along with that. As far as our potential keys, there's 16 keys with 3 first. However, I found out today, just before we started the show, that there are more first appearances. The reason why they're potential keys is because we don't know until we find out. And now there's at least 3 more first appearances. So that number is actually more like 6 than 3 first appearances that are happening this week in comic books. So if you're looking for some first appearances, you're looking for keys, these are some of the books that we're going to be talking about. As far as our publisher breakdown, Marvel has 13 titles, 46 variants. DC has just 5 titles, but 11 variants as well. It's a quiet week, especially for DC. DC has a very low week when it comes to comic books. There's no big hitters. There's no absolute books or anything like that. Marvel does have a couple of titles here and there that people might want to look out for. But as far as the major 2, it's not a heavy week. When it comes to the indies, Image has 13 titles with 23 variants. Boom has 4 titles with 18 variants. IDW has 5 with 14. Whew, this is my favorite always. Dynamite Entertainment has 4 titles with 111 variants.
Go Silverhawks.
That's exactly what it is. Oh, but there's some Thundercats too. Dark Horse has 10 titles with 5 variants. That number seems off, doesn't it? It's like backwards, isn't it? But it's not.
Yeah.
As far as the indie publishers, the remaining 32 titles and 55 variants to go along with it. Wow. Dynamite. Seriously. You got to stop this. Let's take a look at what we got going on now. That is our key watch. So, as I mentioned, DC, most of their major titles are not coming out this week. Instead, they're focusing more on some limited series and things like that. So, among them is Superman Lex Luthor Special Number 1. This is a one-shot that explores the role of Lex Luthor in the DC universe. His mind was wiped during the House of Brainiac storyline, and now they're bringing it back. Obviously, they're planning big things with Luthor, especially with the upcoming Superman movie. They want to tie it together. This book also has some first appearances attached to it as well. There may be minor, so it may be a minor key in that way. What you see in the covers those are the covers. There's Eddie Barrows, which is cover A. Gleb Mendikoff did the cover for that you see there, cover B, and then there's also a foil cardstock Virgin variant. All of these books are pretty much going for cover price.
Yeah, this one I'm not sure if I'm picking up or not. The covers don't do too much for me. I don't mind the middle one, but even when Lex lost his memory, I'm like, well, he's just going to get it back again anyway.
Eventually, right? It's just it's how they do it. It's where I think it's more interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go to our next book in our key watch, and that is this is going to be a surprise one. I think this could be a sleeper, and that is Ultimate X-Men issue 11. There's a Peach Momoko cover. There's also a second Peach Momoko cover, and there's a 1 in 25 Carmen Carnito cover. This is Who Are the X-Men? Is the rise of masked mutants. As we talked about in previous books, when it comes to Ultimate X-Men, the fact that we don't really have the X-Men just yet is interesting to me. However, this may be the book that the X-Men show up. And it's going to be the group of characters. And what I think is going to be interesting is that you might have some potential first appearances in the Ultimate Universe in this book. And that's just me. That's just a hunch.
Yeah.
That's not me knowing anything.
I find it so interesting because I do like Peach's art. I like the interiors. It's a very specific style, but I do like it. And I just am constantly, when I read it, because I read Ultimate X-Men, I love it. I'm always reading it going, what is going to happen? Like, how are they going to? There's no team yet. What's happening here? And then how are they going to tie this into the bigger story? Because we've seen these characters drawn by Peach the whole time, and then they're going to show up in another book or something. It's just very interesting to me to think of.
Yeah, and 11 issues in, that's kind of that's the slow
Oh, yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to be the final payoff when it comes to it. Because here we have something like Ultimate Spider-Man that's rocking on all cylinders, right? This one is going at such a slow pace that we're just not sure, and we're seeing tidbits here and there. Nothing has panned out just yet.
Yeah.
But we're seeing something, but we just don't know anything. And I think that's kind of what's hurting this book, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's definitely the slowest paced book of all the Ultimate books. And I think, readers are willing to give it like a pretty long leash with that. But I'm hoping we get something in the next couple issues that's going to be a little bit more of a push or something cool happening.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to our next book. Here's another one that I think has potential, and that's Green Lantern 19. There's multiple covers. Ariel Colon did the cover A. You got Ozug Yurim. I'm sorry in advance for that one. Can you figure out how to say that name?
Oziger Yildirim.
Yildirim. I'm sorry if you're out there and we butchered your name. My apologies.
But it is the best cover, in my opinion, of the three of them.
It is the best cover. You also have the 1 in 25 Yasmin Flores Montanez. You can't get more Spanish than that. I'll tell you that much.
No.
And this features a fractal lantern story that started last week's issue with the fractal lanterns. It also features a possible first appearance of Odyssey, which is considered to be a time bandit. What's the way to put it? It's kind of like making us rethink how the Lantern Corps works. And we're getting new lanterns and things like that. So it's kind of, I mentioned it last week as Green Lantern meets Inside Out. And that's probably the best description of it.
Yeah. And I didn't get to pick up that first fractal one, so I might get both of them Wednesday, depending on how, tall the pile is.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a heavy week, to be completely honest. Our next book up is Deadpool number 10. Wow. It didn't take him that long, but Deadpool returns. You got cover A by Taran Clark. You got Lennon Francis Yu, who doing that cover, the other cover, and then Amanda Conner doing an homage. Yeah, I'm trying, like, my brain just can't decipher. I feel like I've seen it. So I do know that it's an homage to something. I just don't know what it's an homage of.
I like the A cover, though. It looks good for...
The A cover is good. So if you guys miss Wade Wilson all the 3 months he's been gone, he's back. He's back this week with
Who is
Deadpool
Dead
number
10. Miss Marvel or Wade Wilson? I wonder.
Oh, Miss Marvel had like a month.
That was such a joke.
And it was a spoiler cover too. Ugh. Yeah, they know what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our next book here, and this is one to be looking out for. The Book of Cutter number 1. House of Slaughter is over. This is the follow-up to House of Slaughter, and it features the origin of Maxine Slaughter, who has left the white mask and is now going to the black mask. So those of you that are fans of Something's Killing the Children, I'm sure you guys are going to be picking up this book, because this book is, I don't want to say it's going to be big, but I do believe people are going to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I love that Christian Ward cover. I think it's great.
The Christian Ward cover is good. You also have a Dan Mora who's doing the cover. Cover A. There is also a one per store Dan Mora version cover. Same cover. It's just a version variant. That's going to be one per store. So we might see that in a trending list. It's a possibility. And then you have the 1 in 10 Werther Del Lara cover there, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Not to say that the Christian War one isn't creepy either, but you see, what's your thoughts on House of Slaughter, how it ended? If you cared, I know some people do, and are you looking forward to this one?
So I jumped on House of Slaughter. I kind of missed the beginning. I started picking up after issue 8, but then pretty much at 11, I was in. I love how it had a consistent story and art through the whole thing. I bought the deluxe volume so I could catch up on the story, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun story. My daughter loves it. She's read it multiple times. I didn't know, though, that it actually ended, but I was already planning on picking up this one anyway. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it has a great team behind it, of course. So it looks interesting. I'll probably grab a copy too, especially with the low week that we're going to have this week. Let's take a look at our next book in our list, and that is, I said it, Silverhawks. Silverhawks #1's coming out for Dynamite. Just to let you guys know, I'm showing you 3 covers. There's a lot of covers for this book. More than I care to share with you. But the Lucio Pereira cover is cover A. That is the dominant cover. There's also a Jay Lee cover, which I really like the Jay Lee cover. And this is the cover. I don't even know what letter this is anymore but this is the first of well over a dozen Mark Spears covers. This is what I talk about where we get oversaturation. I think these Mark Spears books are not going to sell the same way as the others.
I can't wait to see, because that's what I was just trying to find it, because I could have swore there was a whole bunch of Mark Spears covers for this. And it'll be interesting to see, because retailers have obviously had time to pick up on his popularity. So have they ordered a ton of these covers? And like you say, is it going to kind of oversaturate his name a little bit?
Mm-hmm. It's just too much. We have to stop this. As of recording, there are currently 56 Silverhawk #1s. There are 32 Thundercats #12.
How many Silverhawk comics are you buying on Wednesday, or when you pick them up, Izzy?
1.
No, not a chance.
You don't think I'm gonna do that? If I say I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. I might pick up the Jay Lee. The Jim Lee one is the one out, just because I want to read it. I can't take this with these covers, man. It is insanity.
I know.
How do they make money? That's my question. Like, I don't get it.
If you're a store, how can you possibly, as a store, decide to order all of those covers? You know you're going to have so many of them left.
Well, to be completely honest, not all of them are store variants. So a lot of these are going to be exclusives. They're going to be retailer exclusives.
Right.
So with that said, that's going to be the case there. So, however, here's where it really gets annoying. Not so much that the retailer exclusive, because the retailers are going to get their exclusive and they're going to sell it as much as they possibly can. For each cover that you see, there's going to be a trade dress version, a virgin version, a foil version, and in some cases, a metal version. Okay? You see the Mark Spears ones there that you see right there? That Mark Spears has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That image that you see right there has 10 covers. That image. The difference is you have a red background or a green background, or a blue background, or a purple background. And with all of them, there's a virgin and there's a foil. Dynamite, you're gonna blow up like your namesake. Stop doing this.
It's crazy. I agree. It's crazy.
So what am I supposed to do? As a collector who wants to collect books, I cannot get all these books. If I'm a Silverhawk fanatic, which to be honest, there's not that many out there, but let's just say I am. I gotta cough up that much money to get all these books because they're not going to be sold for cover price. It'll be sold for $30, 20, $40, depending on the style of book and depending on the retailer. Right? There's going to be the special 1 in 23, right? 1 in 546. It's just too much.
Yeah.
And I like Silverhawks because I'm going to read it. And it's probably not going to be a good story. I'm sorry to say. Nothing against the writers, but Thundercats was not that great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy this to say I have a Silverhawks comic. Okay.
It's a lot of variants.
I didn't even mention black and white versions. So there's black and white. There's black and white version with trade dress, without trade dress. It's too much. Ugh. Going to our next one. Let's do another. Speaking of way too much, Mark Spears Monsters issue number 3 is scheduled to be released this week. Frankenstein cover A. And then you have some other ones. Again, I'm not going to go over all the variants. What's interesting enough about Mark Spears is they're all done by Mark Spears, right? So you have the Marvel 25th anniversary homage. We've seen this one a few times, and we talked a little bit about the Jaws homage, which is a metal.
I love that.
That was a pre-order and it's scheduled to be out this week. What's your thoughts on Mark Spears number 3 this week? What do you think is going to happen with these books?
I can't wait to see. I mean, people, if they jumped on early enough after the first one, or stores did, and kind of got a glimpse of it, this should be pretty available everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see if they still can meet the demand, because everybody is like, they know the name Monsters and they're like, I must buy. So it's a huge FOMO book right now.
Yeah, it's a huge FOMO book. And I think, like you said, since a lot of people already know about it, the Keen Spots, they got to be happy because they could print. They're printing money now.
Yeah.
And that's why they're giving you as much as they possibly are giving you. However, I think it's worth buying it because of having a good comic book too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that kind of hurts here, where you're not buying the comic book as much as you're buying the FOMO of it.
Right. And I've never even looked at one, so I would buy one and then read it, hoping that it's good.
Yeah. So I agree. I think some of these covers are just amazing. Like that Jaws variant is so good.
Yeah.
And I would love to have that. I also know that it's too much of it, just like Silverhawks, that we've gone to this point that this guy's getting all the love and he deserves it. He worked hard to get to this point. I'll say that much. But I'm getting tired of it. I'm tired of it. I really am. I'm tired of it, I love the fact that people are buying comic books. I just hope that they're buying comic books for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Even though everybody has their reasons.
I think we're still peaking, Izzy. I think this one will lead into 4, and you're going to see a ton of sales with issue 4, because that's going to be the first one that was like fully orderable by all these people that missed out.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's move on to some eye-catching covers. Starting with Psylocke number 3. This is the Pablo Villalobos. There's 2 versions of this. There's the regular version, and there is the 1 in 100 Virgin variant, which is the one you're seeing right now. What a cover. Talking about covers, that's just mesmerizing me. That's literally. Also, you have Hell Hunters number 2. This is a 1 in 25 Jung Ji Young. Very important because this features Wolverine as part of the Hell Hunters. So there's a minor key to it. There's also Storm Life Dream number 1. I picked the Karen S. Darboe cover, which is by far my favorite out of all of them. What's your thoughts on these three?
The one I'm looking forward to most is Hell Hunters. I really like that first issue. I thought that Ghost Rider 1944, whatever, I think is a cool character and a cool idea. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah, I like Hell Hunters as well. I picked up the first issue, so I am planning to pick up the second issue. I'm not going to pick up the 1 in 25, even though I do like that cover a lot. I think it's a great looking cover. So, awesome stuff there. The DC books. Now, like I said, DC, they don't have a lot of books coming out, but two books that are coming out is DC Power, Rise of Power Company number 1, and DC's Lex in the City, which is kind of like their Valentine book. Every year they put up a Valentine book. Cover A of both books are not being featured, so you have cover B's. These are all, I do believe all of them are, open order covers, so you could get them at cover price. You have the Davo Go, which is a cool cover. You have the Siowi for Lex in the City featuring Harley. My goodness, these names, right?
Yeah.
Harley and Poison Ivy. That's a pretty cool cover. I like that one. You got the Sozomaki with Nightwing. Why is Nightwing like the quintessential Playgirl cover model?
I don't know how that happened.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's a great cover. I'll admit to that much, but he's looking at you with those dreary eyes. I know that's something Cliff will love. Guarantee he's picking that thing up.
Yeah.
All right. So you got those books there. I like them. I personally think the DC Power is my favorite out of all of them because I just like the way it looks, the aesthetic behind it. Any thoughts on these books?
I'd have to flip through and see what the interiors look like before I decided, but this is one of those ones that I probably wasn't going to grab any of those three.
Yeah, it's not something to go crazy to pick up. I guarantee you they'll probably still be in the shelves by the time you get there. If you get there late, they'll still be there.
Yeah.
I don't see them moving like that. I'm looking at this image. Okay, I might cut this out I might cut this piece out. Who knows? I didn't cut it out last time, but I might cut it out this time. What is Nightwing looking at, and is he wearing any pants?
Good question.
I don't need to know the answer. Or is it Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy looking at Nightwing from the other side?
That could be. Yeah, maybe.
You guys tell me in the chat if you don't see what I see. Okay, let's go to our next books. Book of Cutter number 1, 1 in 25. Kari Randolph. That is a banger of a cover.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to reading that.
Return of the Living Dead number 2 by Mark Spears. This could be the one that's the sleeper. Right?
It could be. I mean, I know that that book gets a lot of draw because of the movie fans, but I'm curious to see if lacking Spears on the interiors is going to hurt that book now that people kind of know what the interiors are.
Yeah. And Thundercats 12, the Mark Spears Mum-Ra cover. Just to give you insight, there are 8 versions of this cover. Which one are you getting?
I'm not getting any of those. You could have a list next week, Izzy, that is all Mark Spears stuff.
Well, didn't we just have a Mark Spears show? But we could just do it based off of like 1 week, right? Uh, it's you know what? I love Mumra, and I think this is a great cover. I just am tired of these multiple covers of the same book. It's just tiresome. Mhm. So it's just pick it up. You like it? Pick it up. I don't think this is going to be a book that people are going to hunt for. Maybe one or two. There you have it, guys. Mark Spears, Thundercats 12, Return of the Living Dead 2, and Book of Cutter number 1. And, with that said, we're done. That's your list of new comic books for this week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.